How to create an inventory control template in Excel considering the shelf life of the products, perishable products. Let me show you here an example. I have different lots for bananas, cake slice, fresh salmon, and etc. Let me only filter fresh salmon. As you can see here on the header, Excel is going to automatically update those values. And I can see how much I sold for the first lot, for the second lot, for the third one, and etc. Because even though those are fresh salmon, the same product, those have different expiration dates. The shelf life is different. January 7th, January 9th, January 15th, and etc. And when I go to the sales, to register a sales, I can go with the date, let's say January 1st of 2027, enter. Let me select a product that is going to be the cake slice. However, pay attention here. There's not only one cake slice, but two different lots of cake slice. There's one with a shorter shelf life, another one with a larger expiration date, let's say. And then I can choose the one that I think is the best to sell. And this is also important because it can help you with FIFO. First expire, first to get out of the stock, right? Let me select here the second cake slice. I know it's not the best option to select because the first one expires first. But anyway, I want to use the cake slice that expires on March 1st. And I'm going to sell here 5 units. And remember, I already have here one cake slice, the same lot that I sold one. Now I'm selling 5. If I go back to the inventory, I can see in the cake slice, the quantity that I have on hand, the quantity sold, and also the quantity purchased for each lot. Even though I have 1,000 different lots for the same product, Excel can handle the situation because we are going to combine the product name with the expiration date. So Excel is going to use a unique code to manage the inventory for those products that are equal but with a different shelf life. But anyway, step by step from scratch, for free, completely free, we are going to create this template. Let's get started by creating the header of our template, because I think the header is something very important, because it doesn't matter in each sheet you are, you just take a look on the header and you know exactly what's going on. So let me click on the first row of Excel, the row number 1, click on the number to select everything. And then you can go to the Home tab and change the fill color, going to this painting bucket. In this case, I'm going to use a dark blue. And for the title itself, I'm going to use something like inventory, control, and products entries. Enter. Of course, you can also use different colors, different labels, and etc. It's up to you, right? Let me go to cell A1 and increase the font size quite a bit to make the header easier to see. And then I also want to change the font color to white and then put everything in bold. Go to the second row just to add a little bit more detail into this header. Let me change the fill color to this one and choose a yellowish color. And between rows 2 and 3, I can click, hold, and drag upwards to make it thinner like this. Okay, now we already have our header and it's working, it's done. And if you want, you can go to the footer of Excel, right click on this specific sheet, go to rename and give it a name such as stock and entries. Okay, hit enter. Now let's move on to create the table itself. And for this table, my goal here is to register all the products that I have, but also manage to track the inventory itself, how many items I have on hand, how many items, the quantity I sold, the quantity I purchased, the current balance, and etc. And thinking about that, I'm going to skip some rows, maybe row number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, a couple of rows actually, just to give a extra space, because within this extra space, we can create some slicers. And the slicer is a filter in Excel, a dynamic one that can help us filter, organize, and only see the informations we want to. It's going to be very handy. Let me go now to cell B10, and in this cell right here, I want to insert the headers of the columns names that are going to be important in the table in this control. And the first information is going to be product name, and then I can hit tab to skip to the next column, to jump into the next one, and then expiration date. Then we can have purchase date, and then maybe quantity purchase, that is the quantity of the stock, of the lot, of the batch, etc. Then we can have quantity sold, and finally current stock. Okay, the current stock is going to be a very easy formula, but anyway, we can talk about that in just a moment. Let me increase the width of those columns, just clicking between one column and another, click, hold, and drag to the right. Like I'm doing here, column B, I'm increasing the width. I'm also going to do the same thing for column C, column D, E, F, and G. That's it. Now underneath the first label, that is the product name, on the cell below, I'm going to input the first product. And for this case, I'm going to have fresh salmon. Enter. Let's say this item, fresh salmon, I bought it on January 1st of 2027. Enter. However, the expiration date is going to be January 7th of 2027. Enter. That's it. So it's quite close to the expiration date, right? The quantity purchased was 15 units. The quantity sold, I don't know yet, because I need a different sheet, a different table to register the outgoing stock, the quantity out. The current stock, I can already make it work. That is going to be equals sign, just to Excel understand that you are going to use a formula here. Quantity purchased minus quantity sold, and then hit enter. For the quantity sold, we can do a formula that is a sum formula to add up the values corresponding to the product name. However, we can't do it right now because we need a second table to help us with the quantity sold, right? Okay, so this is my first product. Let's say product name, fresh salmon, and etc. However, let's say I have one more item that is the fresh salmon again. However, for this case, it's a different lot, a different batch for this product. So it has a different purchase date, a different expiration date, and etc. Let me show you here. Fresh salmon, expiration date. For this case, it's going to be January 15th of 2027. And the purchase date was January 5th of 2027. Quantity purchase was 5. Quantity sold, I don't know. And current stock, I can just click on the handle, click, hold, and drag it down to make sure Excel copy to the next row, the same formula. Okay, that's it. Now, as you guys can see, I have the same product twice, fresh salmon. And the quantity, 15 plus 5 is going to be 20. So this is the total that I have on hand for this product. However, there's a problem here. One has an expiration date that is quite close to expire, and another one is, let's say, is very good. It's it's not close to expire, right? How can I manage those products? How I can sell one product, fresh salmon, in Excel, how Excel will know the difference between this lot to this lot right here. In this case, to make sure Excel understands the difference, we actually need to make those products looks different. Right now, both are fresh salmon, so they are the same. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new column to the right. So let me increase the column H, click, hold, and drag to the right. This is our helper column that is going to help us combine the expiration date to the product name. So we basically are going to couple those information together. So we're going to have something like expiration date, let me use a short version, plus product name. That's it. Let me increase quite a bit, okay? And for the formula, we can go with equal sign, select first the expiration date, and then ampersand This is the symbol that is going to be very handy here. You can go to product name, and when you hit enter, Excel is going to return a combination between those two cells. Now Excel knows the difference between one product and another, because the first product we have coupled to its names the expiration date. And if we copy this formula down, click, hold, and drag, even though the names are equal, fresh salmon, the number is not equal because the number is actually the expiration date. And to make things even clearer, let's say, we can organize, we can improve the format. Instead of using serial number to the date, we can go with something that we are used to, such as month, days, and years. Or if you are in a different country, let's say, you can use days, months, and years. It doesn't matter, okay? It's up to you. So let me show you here an example. Double click on the first formula, 1, 2. And I think it's easier to get rid of everything. Let me select everything, delete, and let's do everything again. Equal sign, but wait, calm down. Instead of select things and click on the cells in Excel, let's go with the formula text. Because this formula is going to help us convert the date that was previously being used as a serial number to a date itself. Let me double click in this formula, 1, 2. As the value, I want to use the expiration date. So click on the cell, comma, and as the format of the text, open quotations. It's very important to open quotations because now we are input a format to the date itself. And the date that I want to use is going to be something like days. So, sorry, I'm going to start with months, okay? So double M, why is that? Because I want 2 digits in the month. And then a slash, this is the symbol right here, okay, slash. And you can go with the days right now, DD. Again, you can use double this because 2 digits for the day, slash, and then year, Y. In this case, I'm using 4 times the letter Y because I want to have 4 digits in the year, just because of that. Let me close quotations and also close parentheses. If I hit enter, what Excel is going to return? The correct date format. And we can continue to improve the formula. Let me double click on the formula, 1, 2, and now we need to append the item itself, that is the fresh salmon. So ampersand, but now I'm going to again open quotations and add a little dash, space, dash, space, close quotations. This is going to make Excel add between the expiration date and the product a little dash. Ampersand again, and then we can go to the product name, fresh salmon, and then enter. Okay, that's it. If I click hold and drag down the formula, now we have different items, and it's much easier to see because now we know the month, the day, and also the year and the item. And now when we do a sales for this product, we can perfectly select the item that we are looking for. Let's say instead of using the fresh salmon, the second lot, instead of using the second lot, I can use the first one because of FIFO, right? First to expire is the first to get out of the stock. And let me add a couple of other items just to have more things to work with. Let's say now we have frozen tilapia, enter, and maybe one more fresh salmon and ground beef, yogurt. Okay, it's like that. I almost made a mistake here. And banana, and also cake, slice, and then banana again, and banana one more time. Okay, that's it. Those are the items that I'm going to use. And I'm just going to pause real quick here the video just to fill in the expiration date, purchase date, and the quantity purchase. And then the formula you can bring down, right? Current stock, expiration date, click hold and drag all the way to the last product you have. Okay, I just fill in this table in Excel. And by talking about table, it's very important to transform this data set into an actual table, a real table, because it has a lot of benefits that I'm going to show you. So select everything you did, the header, the rows, the products, everything. Go to insert table. Make sure you check the option my table has headers and then click OK. You can also go to the home tab and align everything in the center and also in the middle. And this is our table with the products. And as you guys can see, by registering the products to the left, all the way here to the right, Excel automatically gives me the helper column with the date and also the product name. And if I add a new product, let me show you here, and this is why I think it's very important to have a table in Excel. I'm going to add again a new lot for the cake slice. So cake slice, enter. However, this time the cake slice, I just bought it in the date January 30 of 2027, and the expiration date is going to be March 1st of 2027, enter. And I purchased 10 units. So as you guys can see, I have cake slice right here, cake slice right here, with different quantities and with different expiration dates. And if I go all the way here to the right, I can see Excel drag down the formula for me for the current stock and also to this helper column. I have both formulas working. And that's it. This is a very important benefit to use a table in Excel, in my opinion. Now, guys, we are almost done. What we can do is we can do the slicers here in the header of our template, and also a total. Let's say the total quantity purchased, the total quantity sold, the total quantity currently in stock for all the items. However, if I select only fresh salmon, I only want to see the values corresponding to this specific product. But in order to do that, let's move on and create the second template. So click on the plus sign in the Excel to add a new sheet. Right click in the sheet, go to rename, and I'm going to give it a name such as sales entries or something like this. Enter. Let me go back to stock and entries and jump into the first row and the second one. Select both of those rows because I want to copy and paste into the second template. It's going to be easier to copy and paste than to create everything again from the ground up, right? So let's use Control C and Control V. Control C, copy, and go to the second sheet, click on the first row, Control V to paste. However, you can change the header label. Maybe we can go this time for something like product, sales control. And another thing that I want to change here is going to be the background color. I'm going to click on the entire row, first one, click on the paint bucket and change the fill to a dark red, maybe. I don't think it's going to look that good. Maybe a orange, and change the font color to dark red and the second row to a dark red as well. Okay, I think it's look so, let's say. And to create this template for register all the sales, we can start with very important informations such as sale date, product name. However, don't worry because you don't need to remember all those different products names, because we are going to create a drop-down list here in Excel, a list where we can choose the item that you are looking for, the register item on the previous table. Sales date, product name, quantity sold, it's also crucial. Sale value, in this case is going to be the unit value. And finally, the last column, we can go with total amount, enter. The total amount we can already create, that is equals sale value times asterisk, right? This is the symbol, quantity, enter. Okay. Sales date, let's say January 1st of 2027, enter. I make a sale of fresh salmon. However, there's a problem. I don't even remember the correct name for the item. Is that fresh salmon or is that other name? And on top of that, there's different lots for the same product. I have one with a expiration date, another one with a different expiration date, and so on. So which one are I going to sold here, to sell in this case? I don't know actually. So we need to use Excel to help us in this process. And what I'm going to do here is underneath the product name, where we are going to actually enter the product name, we are going to use a data validation. Go to Data tab, all the way to the right, data validation. And with this new dialog that Excel is going to pops up, you can go to, instead of allow any value, allow a list. And guys, there's many different ways, actually, plenty of different ways to create a list in Excel. I'm going to do something very simple, however functional here. I'm going to click on the formula bar that is in this source bar, let's say. Click on it, go to the up arrow, and move back to the stock entries. I'm going to select not the first column, but the last one, where I have the helper column with the product name coupled with the date, the expiration date. I'm going to select the products that I have right now. Okay, I don't have that much products, maybe 6, 7, 8. And what I'm going to do is, going back to the range bar, instead of using until the row 21st, I'm going to use all the way down. Maybe we can add a couple of zeros here. 1, 0, 2 zeros, 3 zeros. So I'm going to use until the row 21,000. Down arrow, and then OK. But why did I increase the range? Because by increasing the range, we can add new products. And even though we have new products, we don't need to be worried about the range itself, because we have a large range and it can contain 21,000 different products. If you need to use a larger range or a smaller one, you can adjust until the number you want to go. And finally, let's check if it's working, whether or not, right? So we have here fresh salmon, plenty of times, the same product, banana, cake slice, twice as well, but with different dates. But let's say I want to see the fresh salmon. As you guys can see, it's not on a alphabetical order, so it's going to be hard to me trying to find which one of those lots of fresh salmon is going to expire first. So what I can do is I can go back to the previous table. I can sort by the expiration date. Okay, guys, this is very important to use this order. First, we sort by the expiration date, and then we sort by the product name. Sort by the expiration date, click on the filter button, and then go to sort from oldest to the newest one. Okay, that's it. Now it's being sorted from the expiration date. However, on top of that, I want to sort using the product name from A to Z on a alphabetical order. So we have here banana, and not randomly organized, but organizing by the expiration date. So the one that expires first is going to be first, and then the second one, the third one, and so on. If we go back to the sales entries, we can select the product, and now it's way easier. It's way better to check the product we need to use. So let's say fresh salmon, I'm going to use the first one, because the first one expires first, has a shorter shelf life. So I can choose the first one, fresh salmon, because it's January 7th of 2027. The second one is January 9, so we have 2 extra days of shelf life. And the third one, we have even more days of shelf life. So it's good, it's okay. Let me select the first one, fresh salmon, January 7th of 2027. Quantity sold was 3 units. The sale value, I can go with $15, so the total amount is 45. And because we are talking about money, currency, we can change those last 2 values into currency. Select both of those cells and go to Home tab and use this dollar sign here. Of course, if you want to work with euros or any other number format, you can choose the one that goes right for you. Select the entire table now, align everything horizontally and vertically, go to insert table again, just to make sure we have all the benefits of a table, and then go to OK. And again, why is it important to have a table in Excel? Because every time you add new rows, Excel is going to bring the formulas down to you. Even though we don't have a formula in the drop-down list, it's also a functionality of the table itself. So Excel is going to bring it down with the range of the table. Another very cool thing we can do with the table, we can click on the table, go to table design, and choose a different color. Let's say this orange one. Okay, now guys, if we go back to the previous sheet, we need to be able to see the items that we sold. Let's say I sold some fresh salmon, but I don't recall what was the lot that I sold. However, Excel does. So Excel needs to return for me the quantity sold. And to do that, we can go with equals sum ifs formula. Double click on this formula, 1, 2 to select. The sum range is going to be the range that I want to add up. And in this case, I don't want to add up everything. I only want to add up the values that corresponding to a certain criteria. And in this case, my criteria is going to be the product name itself, the specific lot. And the specific lot corresponds to the last column, expiration date, and the name itself of the product. So sum range is going to be in the next sheet. Select the entire quantity sold. Right now, we only have one row, but it's okay. Comma. You can go to the formula bar because I think it's easier to continue the formula. Criteria range. Criteria range is going to be the product name because I don't want to add up all the quantity sold. I only want to add up the quantity sold if the product name, that is my criteria range, is equal to my criteria, comma. But what is my criteria? My criteria is going to be in the previous sheet, the product name itself, that is right here in the helper column. So every time Excel, with the help of some ifs, find a product name that is equal to our product name, it's going to add up the corresponding value using the quantity sold column. Click enter, and okay. We only have zeros, but a number 3 right here, because this 3 corresponding to the fresh salmon to this specific expiration date. And this was exactly what we registered on the table. Let's try one more example here. Let's say on the January 2nd of 2027, enter, I sold a cake slice. Let's say I sold the second lot of cake slice. Maybe it's not the best option, but it is what it is, right? I sold the second one. I sold 1 unit for $9. Enter. That's it. Excel needs to perfectly register this cake slice as 1 unit out. Let's go back to the stock and see if Excel handles this right. Okay, second cake slice is right here. Okay, 1 unit out. So we have 9 units for the cake slice. But there's a problem here, guys. We not only have 9 units to the cake slice, we have 9 units to this specific lot of cake slice. However, if we add up all the cake slices we have on stock, we have 30 plus 9, that is 39. And to make sure we can properly see those information, what I'm going to do is click on the table and table design. I'm going to add here a slicer because it's going to help a lot. Let's go for the product name because I want to be able to filter the table by the product name. Click OK. Move this dialog box here, up here. We can organize in such a fashion to match with our layout. Now I can go to slicer, increase column numbers to 3, and also the height to 0.3 inches, as you guys can see here. So we have 3 columns, 1, 2, 3, with a slightly thicker or taller button. Okay, that's it. Now if I go only for cake slice, I can see all the cake slices. If I go for banana, I can see all the bananas. And if I go to clear filter button, I can see everything. But how can I know how much product I have on stock, the quantity on hand, the quantity sold, quantity purchased, and etc. We can create here a formula in Excel that, no, it's not that simple, because if I only add up those values, even though I filter only yogurt, Excel is not going to change 10. It's not going to show me 10, 0, and 10. No, it's going to show the addition of all the values, even though we hide those values, even though those values are hidden, right? And in order to do this dynamic sum in Excel, we can go with equal sign subtotal. This is a very interesting formula because it can return the addition of the values you can see. If you filter a value, it's not going to appear here. Let me double click on the formula, 1, 2. I want to use a sum function, number 9, double click on the option, 1, 2, comma. The reference is going to be all the numbers underneath, and then hit enter. I'm going to do the same process for the quantity sold, equal sign subtotal, double click, select the number 9, comma, select all the numbers underneath, enter. And one more time, equal sign subtotal, double click. I want to use a sum function, comma, select all the numbers underneath. Let me select all those numbers right here, and maybe I can increase a little bit the font size. And also, I can select a couple of rows, merge and center. Select a couple of rows, merge and center, and etc. Just to make it easier to see the numbers, the values. And we can also change the font color to a blue one. Let me return the height of this 9th row. Okay. Now let me show you something very interesting. If I go to frozen tilapia, Excel is only going to show me the results for this specific product. If I go to cake slice, Excel is going to show me only those products, banana, fresh salmon, and etc. So now it's very dynamic. I can see product by product, or I can see everything in general. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video on how can we create an inventory control in Excel using expiration dates as a criteria. If you have any questions or any suggestions to the next videos, let me know, comment down below, and I see you in the next one.